Hi, Xcraft39 back here with you for part 4 of the Eduard p51b build. So in this segment, we'll be assembling the flaps, getting those installed. We'll get the windshield and the side windows installed as well. So nothing really earth-shattering here, just some very straightforward, basic building, and shouldn't take too long. So enjoy. All right, moving on, we're going to go ahead and assemble the flaps and get those installed on the fuselage. I already have the parts cut out, these two for the starboard side, these two for the port side. And I got my PE. There's a couple pieces of PE that goes on here. Nothing major. So I've already got these removed from the tree and cleaned the flashing on them. Figured there's no sense in showing you guys that boring stuff. So these flaps go together. There's a couple locating pins, and then there's holes on this side, and they butt into. There's this this lip right here. This is actually the exterior part of the flap, and this piece just slides into it and locks into those locating pins. And they're not very deep, so it doesn't want to stay very well. So let's get that side pushed on there, and let's little bonder, and then we'll do this side. This time we'll go all the way down. Okay, just like that. Okay, and then on the back side here, let's see, it looks like this point here, these two touch, so we'll put a little bonder there. These two do not, so we're going to leave that alone. And we got right here. Okay, so that's one side assembled. This is pretty basic build stuff here. Oh, see, it slipped. Just those pins are very shallow. See, I got a little bit on the surface there. But again, we're not going to touch it. It'll dry out. It looks ugly right now, but it'll be fine. Okay, we got our other one assembled. Okay, now, so for this, we need PE part 36. And that is right here. Okay. And we need to get our super glue out here. A little dab there. Okay. So now this guy sets, if you can see this here, sets in this area right here. And it looks like we need just a slight bend on that. And they score these to make that easier. So I'm going to just hold it at that score mark and just put it just a tiny bit of a bend in there. Okay, and then this is going to set right here, it looks like. Yep. That's why I don't like PE. Looks great. Pain in the butt. goes just like that. Okay. I got just a little bit too much of a bend in there, so I'm just going to flatten that just a hair. Okay, so now let's get some CA on here. CA is just short for cyanoacrylate, which is super glue. Boy, that's tricky. I don't think I have enough super glue on there. It ain't sticking to nothing. Sorry, I know you can't see that behind my finger. Boy, that is a fiddly little bit there. There we go. I think we got her in position now. Oh, no, not quite. It's got to kick out there. Like that. So it sets at an angle. You can see that. Okay, and we're going to let that set. We got to go do the same thing on this side. I just use an X-Acto knife to remove these from the tree. I have run into a few circumstances with some of the newer PE that it's coming with, it's not even on a tree anymore. It is actually, it's actually in between two sheets of film with adhesive on them. And it's really nice because you peel off the one sheet of film. I think we got that perfect. You peel off the one sheet of film, and then it leaves the PE stuck to the remaining piece, and then you just pick it off. There's no cutting, which is really, really nice. It makes it really easy to work with. I hope that becomes an industry standard. If we're lucky, that's what'll happen. Okay, now we can set this in here. That one went much easier. Okay, so it's sitting at an angle. Just like the other side. We're going to let that set for a minute. While that second one's setting, let's go in and install our flap. This is going to be going on the starboard side. And these flaps are going to be displayed down. Just like that. Oops. There's actually some little There's a spot here and a spot here that these tabs go into. Okay. And our plastic welder right down that backside, just like that. You can't even hardly see that piece of PE that we stuck up in there. Let's go ahead and get this one on. And our plastic welder. Just like that. Now we have our flaps installed as well. Okay. Next we'll be working on landing gear and getting that ready. However, landing gear will not be installed until after everything's painted. You know what we could do here? We could go ahead and install the windshield. There's that. Okay, here's our windshield, and that is going to drop right in here just like this. Now that we have this dash installed. I don't know if you'll be able to see this. Whoops. See? Probably shouldn't have touched that. Let's put a little bit of bonder in this area here too to hold that. There we go. That's better. There was a little bit too much of a gap there, I feel. But that looks better now. Okay. And we have our windshield here. That's going to set right in there. And this is a really nice fit. Goes in there really well. Almost snaps in place. Get this squared away. Okay, so I don't know if this is going to show up on here. I'm going to use my Tamiya Extra Thin, and maybe you can see this. Watch out around the edges of this windshield, and you'll see, oh, frustrating. Oh, I get a little bit of flashing there. And you might be able to see the welder follow this seam. So I'm just going to touch it on this corner. Oh, see, I didn't even see it there. Sometimes it doesn't work out very well. Okay, let's try it again. No. Oh, there I saw a little bit. Okay. Just going to hit that there. I'm going to be very careful because you don't want it to wick in too far. If it wicks up into the windshield area, it's going to ruin it. We definitely don't want that. All right. So it wicked up along this front edge here. Just gonna push that down a little bit. It wants to pop up a little. So I'm just gonna push that down and get that bonded good. Not quite stuck. I'm just gonna keep a thumbnail on there while I do the rest of this edge here. There, I saw a little bit of wicking action there. And I had just the tiniest of gaps right here. Just, I think it's actually where I took that little bit of flashing off. And there's just the tiniest of gaps there, but we can fix that again with our plastic welder. Okay. I still have a very, very tiny gap there. I might have to use just a touch of filler on that. You know, watching glue dry is not thrilling. But I think we got it. Yep, gap is gone. Okay, and we're good on this side. It's nice and smooth. And you can see right here, I did end up going back and putting just the tiniest amount of filler on each side of this landing light. Just such a small amount. Almost doesn't even count. So windshields installed. Let's we can install those side windows really quick. That won't take but just a minute. So I usually like to have these parts prepped and off of the trees before I start filming, so you're not watching all of this boring stuff. If you don't have a pair of these sprue cutters, get them. I used to use an X-Acto knife for many years. And, you know, it served the purpose. It got me by. But you end up doing damage to the parts usually. And those sprue cutters don't do that. They leave a fairly good cut. Okay, so this one is going to go on this side. Okay. Well, pushing it a little too far on the top. Uh-oh. Yep, she's going into the fuselage. Definitely don't want that to happen. All right, let's try this again. This should just kind of set right in here. Okay. Now, here, there. See, I saw it. It traveled from here all the way around to this back edge. Just with that one touch. And then that touch finished it off. And then we can just push it down very gently so it's flush. And that one's done. And it's nice and clean. There's no crazing. It didn't travel. So it's good and clean. Okay, now we can do the other side. A little tiny bit of flashing. Okay. And then we'll get the masks on these. I'm not going to waste your time showing you how to mask this stuff off. I think that's kind of silly. Okay. There we go. We saw that travel, and that traveled nicely right on around. Nope, this top is not in. There we go. Now we're in. And it's nice and clear. No problems. So we'll let that set before I try to mask it. Okay. So moving on, next segment we'll be working on landing gear.